Imagine how the sun ignites the Mediterranean horizon, painting the sky in a symphony of red and gold, while a gentle breeze caresses the foaming waves of the sea. There, in the heart of the Aegean Sea, lies the island of Crete, a jewel of ancient times, which once hosted one of the most fascinating and enigmatic civilizations in the world, the Minoan civilization. Today, I invite you to step with me into the past, to feel the grandeur of temples and palaces meticulously built, to hear the echo of long-forgotten rituals, and to experience the thrill of discoveries that still spark awe in the hearts of archaeologists and history enthusiasts alike. With the eye of your mind, seat yourself on the sail of an old ship, rocked by the rhythm of the sea, drawing near to Crete's golden shores. The image of an island bathed in sunlight, with rugged mountains rising boldly into the sky, is but the prelude to a magnificent chapter in humanity's history. As we disembark, a mysterious roar surrounds us. It is as though the spirits of a splendid past are calling us into an unforgettable adventure where temples and palaces, adorned with vibrant frescoes and sculptures, stand silent witness to past glory. Are we ready to decipher their secrets? The Minoan civilization flourished beginning in the 3rd millennium before Christ, and its period of greatest development lasted until about the middle of the 2nd millennium before Christ. Chronological divisions vary among historians, but many believe that the apex of Minoan power took place during the so-called palatial period, when grand palaces such as those at Knossos, Phaistos, Malia, and Zakros became political and religious centers of incomparable splendor. Ancient sources, few and fragmentary, offer only shadows of a precise chronology, yet archaeological discoveries reveal an incredibly advanced society for those times. Vast, intricately decorated constructions and innovative engineering techniques indicate that the Minoans were masters of masonry and urban planning. The ingenious storage systems for grain, olive oil, and wine within palace spaces reflect a well-organized economic structure. Although we lack the names of specific rulers in the modern sense, Greek legends speak of the famous King Minos, a figure who became synonymous with their entire civilization, even if his actual existence was often intertwined with myth. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine how, in a large square paved with fine stones, people gather to sell fabrics, exotic spices, and finely crafted ceramic vessels embellished with spiral and floral motifs. The air is filled with enticing scents, fresh olive oil, mingling with the fragrance of herbs from the hills and the sea, creating a festive ambience. In the background, drum rhythms and the sound of wind instruments call to dancing and celebration. In this colorful and lively universe, the Minoan civilization gained an enviable position, basing its prosperity on trade, art, and an administrative system that allowed it to thrive for centuries. If we analyze their form of organization, the Minoans were not governed by a single despotic ruler, as one might assume in an ancient culture. Rather, power seems to have been shared among several palatial centers, each with its own leader or ruling class. The palace was not merely a royal residence, but an administrative, economic, and religious complex. Here, food reserves were stored, ceremonies were organized, and state matters were discussed. The clergy played an important role, maintaining a connection with the venerable deities. Minoan society appears to have granted a central role to women, especially in the religious sphere. Frescoes depict priestesses in positions of honor, dancing or officiating rituals before crowds. Religious ceremonies often took place in interior courtyards consecrated to the worship of a mother goddess or other deities associated with fertility and nature. Moreover, men and women seem to have enjoyed a certain degree of equality, a rare phenomenon in the early epochs of humanity. Although we do not possess written documents we can fully read, Minoan writing, known as Linear A, remains largely undeciphered. Frescoes, sculptures, and architectural ruins tell us a story of a profoundly religious, prosperous, and balanced society. In addition to their internal organization, we must not forget the significant influence the Minoans exerted in the Aegean Sea and beyond. Maritime trade opened routes toward Egypt, Asia Minor, and even Cyprus, bringing precious metals, ivory, and spices to the island. Conversely, they exported fine olive oil, wine, their unmistakable ceramics, and other artisanal goods. Through this continuous exchange, Crete became an important commercial and cultural hub of the Mediterranean Sea, making the Minoan civilization a significant power in a rapidly evolving world. We cannot speak of the Minoans without invoking the ancient myths and legends that have survived to this day, often passed on by neighboring civilizations that followed them, such as the Mycenaean or the classical Greek. One of the best-known stories is that of King Minos, son of Zeus and Europa, who ruled from the palace of Knossos. The famous architect Daedalus is said to have built here a vast labyrinth meant to imprison the beast called the Minotaur, a creature half man and half bull. The myth states that this Minotaur fed on young sacrificial victims from Athens, and the hero Theseus volunteered to confront it, ultimately defeating it with the aid of Ariadne's thread, King Minos's daughter. Although modern historians do not believe that a real monster roamed the corridors of Knossos, the complexity of the palace, with its numerous rooms, storage areas, and labyrinthine corridors, may have inspired these mysterious and tense stories. Nevertheless, mythology could also reflect real aspects of Minoan culture, such as ritual sacrifices, though not necessarily human, or bull dances, directly depicted in frescoes that show young men and women leaping over a bull's back as part of religious or initiation ceremonies. In this way, the world of myth and that of historical reality merge, making the Minoan civilization a land of endless fascination. When you step through the ruins of Minoan palaces, your eyes are drawn to the vibrant colors still visible on fragments of fresco despite the passing of so many centuries. Painted walls depict leaping dolphins, lilies, fish, dance scenes, and religious processions. Minoan art is characterized by a naturalistic, fluid, and harmonious style, expressing a profound bond with the surrounding nature and marine life. The Palace of Knossos, for example, was composed of numerous levels and interior courtyards, connected by stairways and corridors that seemed to stretch on indefinitely. Certain chambers were reserved for priests and sacred ceremonies, while others were used as storage for valuable goods or food reserves. What still impresses us today is the advanced drainage and ventilation system ingeniously designed to ensure residents' comfort. Ceilings and columns painted in red or black with distinctive shapes are signs of a refined architecture. Rather than employing the brute force of massive constructions, the Minoans preferred graceful structures, arranged so as to create an almost theatrical effect for visitors. Moreover, the Minoan civilization left us examples of refinement in ceramics as well. Vases, bowls, and cups decorated with spiral patterns, floral motifs, or representations of marine fauna were used both in daily life and in rituals. This unique style, known today as the marine or palatial style, stands out through attention to detail and the expressive quality of the figures. And when you behold a piece of Minoan pottery, you feel as though it is a fragment of that era's spirit, an invitation to see the world through the eyes of a civilization in love with nature and life's beauty. The central and strategic location of the island of Crete allowed the Minoans to become skilled merchants and navigators, mastering vital maritime routes in the Mediterranean world. Archaeological evidence suggests that Minoan vessels reached as far as Egypt, Phoenicia, or the coast of Syria, bringing back crucial resources such as precious metals, ivory, and spices. This vast network of exchanges contributed to Crete's technological and cultural development, each import introducing new influences and ideas. Trade did not merely involve material goods, but also religious symbols, artistic models, and even administrative practices. The Minoans adopted and adapted all that was valuable to their own society, cultivating thus an open spirit toward innovation. At the same time, they exported fine olive oil, aromatic wines, and high-quality textiles, while their renowned craft objects, ceramics, jewelry, and statuettes, were greatly sought after on the international market of the era. Consequently, Crete became a true convergence point of cultures, a place where East and West met under a radiant sun, with the sea as the link connecting seemingly distant peoples. Let us imagine walking through the streets of a Minoan city in its days of glory. Houses built of stone and mud brick line paved alleys. Some dwellings, more luxurious, rise 2 or 3 levels high, featuring wooden balconies and painted walls. In the central marketplace, merchants' calls and offers fill the air. The scents of olive oil, aromatic herbs, and steaming bread awaken your hunger. The faces of the people reveal the joy of an abundant life, the result of flourishing harvests and thriving commerce. Women, wearing airy dresses tastefully tailored and embroidered with floral motifs, handle household tasks but also engage in crafts. Men, clad in simple tunics, work at the docks, in metalworking shops, or in construction. Children run through the streets, playing with fabric balls or small carved animals under the watchful eyes of their mothers. The metallic clang of hammers from the workshops, blended with the murmur of the waves, forms a unique soundscape that speaks of a hard-working and vibrant society. Religious rituals and public celebrations bring the community together in palace courtyards or open-air sanctuaries on mountain peaks. There, priests and priestesses perform sacred dances, and animal sacrifices, particularly of bulls, are deemed essential offerings to protective gods. In those moments, music and dance unite the entire island in a single heartbeat, pulsing with faith and hope, each soul convinced that the gods and the forces of nature favor the Minoans, ensuring their prosperity. But what exactly brought an end to this remarkable civilization? Here, history intertwines with theory and mystery. Some specialists believe that the eruption of the volcano on the island of Thera, known today as Santorini, was the trigger for the decline. Considered by many to be among the most powerful eruptions in human history, it may have generated an enormous tsunami and long-term climatic changes. These cataclysms would have drastically affected the Minoan trade network, destroying ports and crops and weakening the island's economic power. A second theory suggests an invasion by Mycenaeans from the Greek mainland. There may have been military conflicts, and the already weakened Minoan naval power, compromised by natural disasters, could not resist these attacks. Thus, the Mycenaeans would have seized the island and imposed their own cultural and administrative models, transforming Crete into a strategic outpost. Nor are we lacking hypotheses about an internal decline generated by political and social problems. It is possible that the palace structure and the ruling class dissolved amid internal conflicts, losing their authority and capacity to efficiently manage resources. The abrupt decline of commerce and the collapse of palaces, some likely destroyed by fires and earthquakes, would have accelerated the disintegration of the Minoan system. Ultimately, this grand power vanished, leaving behind only majestic ruins and the legends that kept it alive in collective memory. Even though Minoan glory has faded, its legacy survived through the cultural and technological influences it passed on to its successors. The Mycenaean civilization, which followed, adopted some of their administrative and architectural elements, while the legends of King Minos and the Minotaur's labyrinth became foundational for Greek mythology. In essence, the Minoans represented a bridge between East and West, synthesizing and spreading knowledge that would form the basis of later developments in the Aegean world. Modern research, beginning in the 19th century and continuing throughout the 20th century and beyond, has unearthed palaces, artifacts, and writings. Archaeologists, historians, and linguists have put forth tremendous efforts to decipher the mysteries of Minoan writing and to reconstruct the image of this enigmatic society. Although we have yet to unravel all their secrets, each new discovery ignites even greater curiosity worldwide. Thus, the civilization that once dominated the Aegean Sea for thousands of years continues to fascinate and inspire. Today, the ruins of Minoan palaces, with their red columns and still vibrant frescoes, await the footsteps of curious visitors. When you stand before a massive column in the palace of Knossos and gaze upon the central courtyard, where once thousands of souls gathered on festival days, you feel as though you are witnessing a temporal enigma. You would like to reach out, to touch the warm stone, and to ask King Minos himself about the secret of their prosperity, about their gods and rituals, about the wisdom that allowed them to become a major power in the ancient world. You feel a shiver when recalling the legend of the labyrinth. Perhaps it was more than a mere prison for the Minotaur. Perhaps it was a metaphor for the complexity of Minoan society, a symbol of humanity's adventure in seeking knowledge and spirituality. Every chamber and corridor in the palace opened up for the Minoans a new world, a new reason to invoke the god or to prepare for the next sea voyage. Their history, marked by splendor and abruptly cut short by uncontrollable forces, still reminds us how fragile the glory of a civilization can be. At the same time, it inspires us to search for and rediscover the power of innovation, social harmony, and respect for nature, the values that allowed the Minoans to flourish for centuries. At the threshold of sunset, the sun descends over the Cretan mountains, bathing the landscape in a reddish glow. We look toward the horizon, where the sea hides its secrets beneath mysterious waves. There, at the boundary between reality and legend, lies the story of the Minoan civilization, woven in a sacred dance with the gods and with nature. Their tale, once known to the entire ancient world, today seems an ancient echo, yet still a potent one. Perhaps we will never know all the details of their lives. Perhaps over time, fragments of the past will continue to surface, revealing glimpses of truth and amplifying our fascination. What we know for certain is that the Minoans built an empire of art, commerce, and spirituality, an empire that turned Crete into a beacon of light for the civilizations that followed. And this flame, this fire of creativity and sacrifice still burns, fueling the curiosity of present and future generations. I invite you not to let this journey end here. Every step through archaeological sites, every book opened on the history of the Aegean Sea, every exhibit admired in museums, and every spark of imagination urging us to dream of the labyrinth and the Minotaur reminds us that the past is not far away. It dwells in us, in each gesture of exploration, and in every desire to comprehend what it meant to be part of an extraordinary people who left behind an unparalleled legacy and a perpetual invitation to discover. Thus, closing this chapter, we lift our gaze to the night sky, strewn with stars, just as the Minoans did so many millennia ago. Under the gentle light of the moon, Crete remains a sacred realm, washed by waters and shaped by wind, keeping watch over its secrets. If we know how to listen and to look with an open heart, the echoes of the Minoan civilization will guide our steps through time, once again carrying us into the vibration of a grandiose world, vanished yet forever alive in humanity's memory.